Let's go ahead and set an intention for our practice today with a sentiment of metta. And I think I've read this one recently, but let's read it again. This one reads, "May all find quiet solace in the soft luminescence of twinkling lights." May all find quiet solace in the soft luminescence of twinkling lights. Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha. It is such a delight to be here today practicing with you. We're going to do something this week that's a little unusual, I think, for most Western practitioners. However, it is incredibly Buddhist. So we're just going to get our Buddha on and finish up this mindfulness practice on the body. So, what we've been working on for the month of January is the contemplation of one of the four foundations of mindfulness, the body. And this comes from the Satipatthana Sutra, which are the four delineated places that we can focus mindfulness on: the body, emotions, mind, and story. And within the body, there are 6 different contemplations that we have been discussing. And today we're going to talk about something called cemetery contemplation. Now, one of the reasons why we do this, and I'm going to kind of bring us on a big arc and then come back to the main idea here. So bear with me. One of the reasons why this particular sutra and this particular aspect of the sutra is so important is when we think about and consider the legend of the Buddha, one of the 3 jewels in our practice. The Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, was a prince, as the legend goes. And one day, as a very young man, he decided to explore and jump the walls of his palace and have a look-see around. What he didn't know was that his family and all of his staff in this princely realm created false conditions for him where he would never see anything ugly, no blemish on life. So he was never to see any sickness, he was never to see any aging, and he was certainly never to see any death. All of that was quickly swept away, sterilized, everything nice and beautiful for this prince. So when he went into the town and when he went outside the confines of this highly climate control curated environment, what did he see? He saw people terribly sick. And what happens to the body as it experiences the nature of life, which is that we have illness. We all have the capacity to grow sick. The Buddha also came in touch with people who were old and in various stages of physical decline in the body, because we all have the capacity to grow old. And in fact, we're lucky if we do. Not everybody gets to grow old. And then the Buddha saw death. And he saw death in various stages because at the time of the Buddha, 2,500 years ago, there was no such thing as the cemeteries that we know in the West, where you have a beautiful park, everything is landscaped, lots of flowers, nothing smells, nothing's ooey or gooey or gross. Everything is clean and beautiful. In the Buddha's time, when somebody died, the body was sort of tossed in the backyard, and bodies piled up, and they were in various stages of decomposition. And so the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, stumbled across some of these bodies in various stages of death. The Buddhist practice also, this is before his time, there were the Hindu practices of cremation. So there were death pyres all over the place, and he could smell the smells of death that are unique to that particular body experience. And so, as the Buddha then devoted his life to being a monk and finally sat down to come into enlightenment, i.e., into the causes and conditions of suffering, one of the things that he contemplated is our resistance to death, our fear of death. And so to contemplate what happens to the body when we are growing sick, when we're growing old, and when we're even dying, does a couple of things. The most important is it helps us get out of our small self, our self-centered state of mind, our self-cherishing ego mind. And it reminds us that at the end of the day, you're just like me. We're all going to, at some point, die and decompose. And at some point, no one's going to be able to tell the difference, tell the difference of what corpse is what. We're all the same. So it begs the question, who are you? Are you this sack of bones? Or are you something else? And it humbles us to have this contemplation, because so much of what's happening to the West is an overzealous attitude and attention toward the body, keeping the body young, keeping the body vivacious, and so forth. And we forget to sit with the body and to be with its discomfort, to be with its pain, to be with its decline as a very normal human experience. And then as we begin to practice this a little bit, our capacity to be with others who are in despair, in decline, sick, maybe even dying, begins to grow, it begins to soften. We can be with our discomfort, be with their discomfort, and in all of that being, something shifts, something transcends, and healing happens. One of the things I'd like to emphasize in this practice today is many people on the journey of recovery have heard the social narrative. If you drink, if you use again, you're going to die. And there's a lot of fear-mongering that can be associated with that. This isn't about fear. This is about sitting with the nature of reality, sitting with the discomfort of the nature of reality, and getting curious about your own capacity. It might be really uncomfortable for you. Can you breathe? Can you sit with that? Can you wonder? And you know, depending on the day, the answer might be yes and the answer might be no. And invite that to be perfect. Invite where you are in this practice to be perfect. So today, for our practice and the contemplation of the cemetery, close your eyes if it feels comfortable for you, and if not, just turn your gaze downward a little bit. Keep your eyes wide open, but turn your gaze down. We're going to enact the other body practices by putting the body in a noble posture and allow your own inner wisdom to determine what a noble posture is for you. Don't let anyone tell you what is noble for your body. You know what's noble and what's best. And breathe. Allow your attention to drop completely into the breath with enormous gentility. And if you are someone who has ease with breathing, take a moment to celebrate that as a small wonder. Millions of people struggle with what you are experiencing as ease. Breathe in and out. Come into the awareness that your body is a whole living, breathing organism that carries you around. You as consciousness since beginningless time, you are in this vessel, this clay, earthen, ancient vessel. You are connected to the cosmos. You are intimately connected to the earth. You are deeply connected to everyone. And as you settle into that, bring your attention to any part of the body that might be uncomfortable, tight, restricted, resistant. And see if by bringing the fifth body practice, which is the elements, the earth, air, fire, and water, solidity, mobility, temperature, fluidity, see if you can apply those elements conceptually to any part of the body that feels diseased, uncomfortable. Maybe you're experiencing a little cold on the top of your shoulders and maybe contemplating the warm sunshine. Maybe your mouth is a little dry and thinking about a glass of water, or actually getting yourself a glass of water would be a lovely, refreshing thing to do for the body. Maybe your lungs have garnered your attention and you're thinking about the air, you're watching and observing the air flowing in and out of your lungs and remembering that the trees just outside your home are the earth's lungs. These trees that create the oxygen that we breathe. We are dependent upon them. We are. And just when you get comfortable, I think the Buddha had a very, very funny sense of humor. Just when you get comfortable, what does he ask us to contemplate? The ultimate impermanence, which is death. So now we have to bring our minds to that. maybe what we would miss, who we would miss. Maybe we have to consider all that we haven't gotten done yet. Maybe it's an invitation to think about regret and healing and forgiveness. Maybe as we contemplate death, we actually make it physical and we think about our bodies slowly returning to the earth, being enveloped and welcomed back into this place, into this planet from which we were born. The Dharma is very clear with the Four Noble Reminders that you have a precious human life, and it is precious and miraculous. The nature of reality is impermanent, and your precious life is going to go through all kinds of change, including changes to your body, up until its complete disintegration and marriage back with the earth. But something about you is likely to remain. The impressions you leave upon the earth, the seeds of your karma left behind. That's the third noble reminder, your karma. And the fourth noble reminder is just simply the folly of samsara, they say, which is the constant storytelling of suffering and confusion that we are incessantly hooked by. Namely, the denial that life is precious. We are precious, all worthy of love and dignity and respect, all here to awaken to the causes and conditions of our own suffering. And so by coming back to the contemplation of death, the contemplation of the cemeteries, all of these people who have gone before us have lived their lives, have experienced impermanence just like you and me, have had their karma just like you and me, and have had their confusions and distortions just like me. But unlike me, did they get a chance to come into community and contemplate the Dharma, contemplate their own preciousness, their own holiness, their own consciousness. To stare at death is to begin to awaken to a deep knowing that we are more than this body. We are more than our stories. We are more than the sum of our errors. Who we are is a mysterious evolution of consciousness. And it is my conviction that we are here not only to awaken to the conditions of suffering, but to learn to be present, to learn to be patient and compassionate, and above all else, to learn to love. We'll end our practice with a very simple breathing mantra. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, this is a wonderful moment to be alive. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, this is a wonderful moment to be alive. And I think we'll end it there with a dedication of merit. I really love the books that Ross mentioned today, and I'm going to reiterate them in case you missed it. So Ross referred to The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and then a little book that is packed called Awareness. And it's written by Anthony DeMello. And Anthony DeMello was a Jesuit Catholic priest, but he was raised in India. So and he was born in India. And so he had this incredible partnering of these two very different cultures, this Eastern culture that he grew up with and was in his bones and DNA, with this Catholic practice that he learned. And so his teachings and his writings represent the marriage of the two, and they are exquisite. Today we dedicate this practice to all of our friends who have passed into death, our loved ones, our family and friends, people that we don't know in this moment right now. The world has received someone's first breath and someone's last sigh. It's a precious thing to behold. May that awareness descend upon you and soften the edges of anything that might be hard and sharp. May it open in you a spirit of curiosity and friendly inquisitiveness. May you carry this practice into your whole being so that your presence can be one of warmth, beauty, and calm. May all who need it find it and feel it in this moment today. May all who suffer find ease. May all who struggle find light. May all who despair find moments where small wonders reveal. Thank you so much for your beautiful practice, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.